Chances are really, really good that you've got a ton of great ideas for a book. So why don't you have a physical book sitting on a shelf somewhere, helping people with their problems or offering them your solutions? Because without the doing, the actual writing part, those ideas are nothing more than thoughts. Or maybe at the best, it's a Word document sitting on a hard drive somewhere. I totally understand how overwhelming it can be to sit down and stare at a blank screen and just grind out the process of writing a book. I've experienced it myself, and I've spent my entire career working with authors who share the exact same struggle. You are so not alone. So many great authors today really had a hard time at the beginning, and all they really needed was to have a plan, the right plan that helped them write their original book. If that's you, I have a free resource that will help you take your ideas and turn them into an actual plan for not only grinding out that book, but finishing it and actually having fun at the same time. So click the link down below to download the one-page book planner. So let's talk about one of the really big hurdles that people have when they're trying to sit down, look at that blank page, and actually create a plan and really start writing their book. When they've committed to writing the book, the very first thing that pops into people's heads is what's called imposter syndrome, and it happens to everybody. It's not just you. It's not just for people who are beginners at their industry. Experts at every single level have this same feeling. Imposter syndrome, if you've never heard of it before, is basically the idea that people are going to find out that you don't know what you're doing, basically. They think you're an imposter, like, oh, this guy wrote a book or this girl wrote a book. They think they know everything, they know all the answers, but you feel inside that maybe you don't have every single answer. Oh my gosh, what happens if somebody has a question that I don't know the answer to? First of all, realize that everybody feels this way. This is not something that is unique or special to you or anybody else. It happens. Imposter syndrome is a hallmark of high achievers, believe it or not, because high achievers know that they always want to be learning, they always want to be raising their level, and because of the fact that they are always learning, they're always finding out new things about their industry, about how they can better serve clients, they're figuring out new and different ways to present information. All of that leads us to believe that because we haven't gotten there yet, because we haven't gotten to the top of our industry and we know all the answers, therefore someone might call us an imposter, or therefore someone might think we don't know what we're talking about. But the truth is, if you are in a business and you are serving clients and customers and you are creating information, or you have come up with a new patented idea, or whatever it is that you want to write your book about, if you have something to say, you know enough to say it. It doesn't matter if you are not the foremost expert in cancer research for you to write a book about how you overcame cancer, right? It doesn't matter if you are not the world's leading authority on import and export from China. But if you're doing it and you help other people do it, you have a system and you have a way of creating what it is that you do in your business. That means you are able to deliver what you do and deliver your information in a written format. If you're good enough and you are able enough to explain what you do and to help people through blog posts, through websites, through podcasts, through videos, through any other medium, a book is exactly the same content. It's the same ideas. It's you putting your ideas out into the world. Yes, it has a higher perceived value. Yes, when people create a print book, they think, oh my gosh, it's permanent. Right? It's something that's going to be out there in the world for a really long time, hopefully, and I can't take it back. I can't delete the comments. I can't go in and redo the blog post. I can't edit it for the rest of my life, right? Once it's done, and that's why books are so valuable. It's also why so many people think, I can't do this. I just can't do it. I'm not an author. I don't know all the answers yet, therefore I shouldn't do it. So I just want to assure you, number one, everybody feels this way. It's not just you. Number two, if you have enough knowledge and expertise to write a blog post or to create a video or to even help a single customer, then you have enough information to write a book. So the second thing that's going to keep you struggling is an anxiety over writing the exact right words. People will edit themselves and over-edit and over-edit and over-edit over and over and over again until they feel like they have the perfect sentence, the perfect paragraph, the perfect chapter, the perfect book. It's an anxiety that comes from I'm not enough. It comes from I really need to make this perfect because it's permanent. It's going to be in a book. It's not going to be a blog post that I can just take down if I want to. I tend to see people do it in threes. So they'll rewrite the same sentence or the same 3 sentences over and over and over again, or they'll write the same 3 paragraphs over and over and over again, or they'll write the same 3 chapters over and over again. And the first book that I ever wrote took me 16 years because I wrote the first 3 chapters for about 14 of those years. And that was really frustrating to me, but I noticed a pattern, and that pattern was that I was continually rewriting the sentences. And there was nothing wrong with the sentences that I wrote the first time, or the 15th time, or the 267th time. I was just writing them differently. There's a million ways you can combine words to create a sentence or a paragraph or a chapter. And what you have to realize is, yes, there are ways that are more succinct. There are ways that are better than other ways to do it. But at some point, you just have to say, this is what I'm trying to communicate, and I've said it, and I'm going to move to the next sentence, because otherwise you get stuck in this loop of writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting forever, and you never get it done. So when I'm working with new authors, the way that I tell them to approach the first draft is to think of it as what we call a Frankendraft. Like, it's going to be a mess. It's supposed to be a mess. It's supposed to just be a brain dump of your thoughts, written as best as you can and as clearly as you can, but without over editing. And so what that means is just type. Just type and type and type and do a brain dump of all of your thoughts and all of your ideas. And then you can go back. You're not going to publish your first draft. You're not going to publish your 5th draft, maybe. Maybe you don't publish your 20th draft. That's not the point. The point is to get all the way through your book, write it all the way to the end. You don't have to write it in sequence. You don't have to start with page 1 and go to the end, because that's really hard. You can skip around, but you want to keep going, and not, if you find yourself going back, hitting the delete key and going back and rewriting the sentence over and over and over again, or just obsessing over a paragraph, that means that you're caught in a loop. What you need to do to get out of that is to stand up, walk away from the computer, go outside, put it away for a little while, come back, and then start in a different spot. Because if you're just going to edit all day long, that's not going to get your book done. But you just want to keep on writing, keep on writing, keep on writing. It's not to say you're not going to edit later, because you are. You're going to do it a lot. You're going to probably hate reading your book by the time you're done with all the editing that you're going to go through, but that's okay. At the first step of the game is all about get it on paper. Everything you think needs to be said. Sometimes you're going to write more than we need for the entire book, and we're going to cut, and that's fine. But for right now, just write straight through. Don't second guess your sentences. Don't get caught up in the word choice or any of that. Just write down your ideas, and you'll keep going, and then you'll finish your book, and you'll be like, yes, I'm done. This is great. And then we'll say, yes, you're not done quite yet, but that's great. All right, so the third thing is writer's block. This is a real problem because people tell you it's a problem. You've probably heard, whether you write blog posts or you write web copy or you write other pieces of communication in your business, and you're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. What I've discovered after working with dozens and dozens and dozens of authors and working on my own writing for 30 years, writer's block is a thing. It's an actual thing where you're like stuck. But it's not what you think it is. Most people think that writer's block happens because you don't know what to say. And what I've discovered is that it's not that you don't know what to say, but that you have too much to say. You know so much information about your topic or about what you're trying to write about, and you have such a heart that you want to share everything that you know with a person in this particular chapter or this particular book, that all these ideas up in your head, they want to rush out your fingers at the same time. And there's a log jam that happens because you're not sure what to say first, you're not sure whether you're doing it in the right order, or you're not sure, do they need to know this, or is this particular audience gonna understand that, or oh no, they don't understand that topic, I gotta go back and explain it again. So what happens is all of these thoughts like log jam in your head and they can't get out. So what you need to do for that is to make sure that you had a plan in place from the very beginning of the process. If you've already started writing a book and you don't have these next 3 things that I'm going to tell you about, then you need to stop and go back and do this exercise, because it's going to help you eliminate writer's block, because you're always going to know what you want to say next. So what are those things? So there's a free tool for you called the one-page book planner, and you can get it with the link below. However, I'm going to tell you what they are real quick first. You need to have a target audience that is extremely specific. You need to know exactly who you're writing towards and what do they need to know. What is the goal of your book for you? Meaning, what do you want them to do when they're done reading the book? Do you want them to go to your website and sign up for a mailing list? Do you want them to donate to a nonprofit cause? Do you want them to hire you to speak? Do you want them to buy a product? What is it? What's the goal? What are you trying to get them to do? Then, what is the goal for the reader? What are you promising them that they're going to be able to do by the time they're done reading this book? What is it that you're trying to teach them? When you have those three things, the audience, the goal for you, and the goal for the reader, then you write those down just in simple sentences, 3 sentences. Put them in front of your computer, put them on your wall, put them wherever it is that you're writing. And whenever you feel like you've got too much going on in your brain, you feel like you're stuck, you don't know what to say next, you need to look at those 3 things and eliminate anything that doesn't meet those 3 things. If you're trying to define a certain concept that has nothing to do with the audience or what you're trying to teach them, then you don't need to put it in your book. This is not the only book that you're ever going to write. It's entirely possible you'll write a whole series of books. It's also entirely possible that you just need to introduce the concept, and then they're going to go and learn more information from your videos and your blog posts and all of the other content that you have out there. You don't have to put your entire brain, your entire 50 years worth of experience into one book. When you try to do that, it's too much for you, it's too much for the reader. And what ends up happening is your brain just shuts off and says, nope, I don't know what to write because there's too much. So please understand that nobody's first draft is sitting as a #1 bestseller published on a shelf somewhere. The important part is to start writing. And every successful author begins by starting and following the right process. They have to have a plan in place at the beginning. If you are ready to stop collecting ideas in your head and actually finish that book that you know is inside of you, I'd love to be able to help you. Please go and click the link below and download my free resource right now.